Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I am Linda Fitzgerald. Welcome to the webinar, Start Your Business. This webinar is being presented by Joe Rodola. I'll introduce Joe to you in just a moment. And let me start off by reading our disclaimer. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and do not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, and other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the HSU Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. This is the Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center. We support Trinity and Shasta counties in far northern California. This is a nonprofit organization. We provide confidential, no-cost advisory and training services to small business. And the reason they're no cost is your tax dollars have already paid for these services. So if you are a member of Shasta or Trinity counties, you can talk with Emily. We'll have her contact information at the end. You can call her or send her an email and arrange for a meeting with one of the advisors, such as Joe, who's presenting today. And this is a list of most of our advisors. We are so glad that we have such a variety of talent here to help our business owners in different specialties. So please do reach out to us. Emily is the primary person. She's the one top row, second person in. She's the one that meets with each of you and gets your paperwork processed and interviews you and makes sure she connects you with the right advisor.
Now, this is a great group of people. The other cool thing about this list is this is our local list per se. We have another 30 or 40 people that we can hook you up with in the greater Sacramento area, also for free, that specialize in other areas. We have a person that's involved with Kickstarter funding. We have a restaurant specialist, Louise, she's fabulous. We have manufacturing specialists. It goes on and on and on, okay? So besides our local group, we can just about find you help in every single area. And guess what? You won't have to pay us anything as we're already being paid through the SBA and through our tax dollars. So welcome everybody. There's me, Joe Rodola. I'm kind of the lead consultant here. I'm the money guy. Been doing this now for SBDC and another company you'll hear about later called Superior California Economic Development for the last 9 years. But basically, I'm an old banker by trade, okay? 25 years I spent in the banking world, made commercial loans, real estate, and business loans for about 20 of those 25 years. And I've been in the credit industry for 48. The good news for everybody is that I've kept in touch with all of my buddies and friends and people in the greater Shasta Trinity County area in the banking industry. So depending upon what you need, normally I can help guide you to figure out a way to get somebody out there in one of these banks or financial institutions to at least talk to you and try to get you some money, okay? Here's our agenda. Obviously, we're doing the introduction. We're going to talk about the discovery section. Do you really want to do this? Making and keeping it legal, from idea to reality, turning the idea into business plan, of course, that we're going to wrap up. Now, many of you may be joining us. A lot of times we get people from outside our geographic area joining us on these webinars. Welcome. We love to have you. But this particular class, for the most part, when we get down to licensing, some certifications, and discussions about local finance companies and banks, This is really set up for Shasta-Cascade office, which covers Shasta County and Trinity County, California. Remember that there are SBDC offices everywhere in the United States. Every county is covered by SBDC consultants, which is pretty cool. I think they said, the last I heard, David might want to correct me on this, but I think there's over 3,000 advisors available, to help. That's a lot of people, okay? And so, again, if you're from outside the area, we will give you oh, by the way, too, we'll give you the slide deck. You don't have to remember all this stuff, okay? You'll leave your email information at the end of this program. We'll be glad to send you out this slide deck. It's got all the information attached to it. But you'll have a way to be able to contact other SBDC offices real easily, and we give you links at the end of the program. And by the end of the course, of course, you'll be able to evaluate whether you really want to do this. Are you suited to do it? Understand the steps and make informed decisions, legal structure, licensing, and the format, the business plan, and get it started. We have a lot of different webinars out there, okay? We'll give you the links to check those out. We cover things like a whole class on business plans. We have a whole class on forecast models. We have another class on, we have all sorts of different classes on marketing, Facebook, utilizing these various online methods of advertising and getting people to come and buy your products. So again, at the end, we'll have a nice email address you can check out to see all of our classes that we have on an ongoing basis. I teach some. Linda, who you've already talked to and met, she teaches some. David Walker, our director, he teaches some. So we all take a share of teaching you as much as we possibly can, and all at no charge. We also are going to be listing for you today our YouTube channel, which has a bunch of tape webinars from the past you can look at in the evening with a glass of wine or a beer. What a deal. Don't even have to come to our live ones. I'd like for you to come to the live ones, but you've got them taped as well. All right, so let's start with discovery. Basically, you need to know if you can really do this, okay? A lot of people aren't really geared a lot of times to taking on this. It's a pretty large step. I did it myself 11 years ago. My 11th anniversary of my business is coming up here in a couple of months. And it's a real step after working for someone else for as many years as we all have in many cases. I worked for corporations of one kind or another, for-profit, nonprofit, for, roughly 40 years before jumping off into the self-employment realm. So again, we're going to assess your feasibility of what you're going to be doing. You're going to do a self-assessment to find out if you really want to do it. Going to have to check your finances, okay? Because money makes the world go round, and hopefully you got a product people are going to want, right? This actually helps you build a rudimentary business plan, okay? So let's start with, are you a good fit? Are you really emotionally, physically, mentally ready to go into business for yourself? Do you have the personality? Hopefully you're an outgoing person. Hopefully you trust and love your product or service, whatever that might be. And hopefully you can present it to people in a way that gets them interested to want to buy. Do you have the skills and experience to make, build, sell, deliver, whatever that product might be? And do you have the money to get you off the ground? Startup is probably the toughest. There is no doubt about it. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It isn't easy. The more money you have yourself, the better. No doubt about that either, okay? So the more money you have, the better. And again, are you kind of an employee mentality, or do you believe in being your own boss? There's some benefits to your own boss, and there's some drawbacks.
Joe?
Yes.
We are lucky in that we have Tricia Silva on the call with us.
Trisha's joining us again.
She
Wonderful.
is. So if
How
we
cool
could
is
bring
that?
Tricia in, because we usually include her at the beginning of these.
Oh, and I can see her today. That's even better. Yay.
Hey,
Now, even though it's out of sequence, my fault, my bad.
no worries.
We're going to let Tricia tell about Caltrans, and some of you may be interested in contracting with the state. So she'll give you some good clues on that. So Trish, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Hi, everybody. My name is Tricia Silva. I am the Caltrans District 2 Small Business Liaison, and I'm located right here in Redding, California. And we serve 7 counties: Shasta, Siskiyou, Trinity, Modoc, Pelumas, and Lassen County, and Tama. And so my job is to help educate businesses on how they can find procurement and contracting opportunities with Caltrans. So I will leave my contact information in the chat for everybody. We also have 3 certifications that we recognize because we have to give mandated goals of business to small businesses and DBBEs. And these are free certifications that I can help assist you all with. And Caltrans purchases a lot of different types of commodities. We purchase office supplies, construction supplies, electrical supplies. So there's a lot of opportunity with Caltrans that folks might not be aware of. So I will leave my information in chat, my email. If you want to discuss this further or get more information, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to assist. And all of this is free. Certifications are free. All this information, what I could do one-on-one meetings, it's all free. So I will go ahead and leave that for you guys in chat, and please feel free to contact me. And I look forward to talking to you all more about possibly contracting and having procurement opportunities with Caltrans. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. Sorry that I missed you. We wondered who S144862 was.
Yeah, no worries, no
Now we
worries.
know. Now we know.
Yes, now we know.
Thank you.
Have fun, you guys, and I'll leave all of my information in chat.
All right, wonderful, thanks.
Thank you.
All righty. So skills and experience. Actually, there's 5 core business skills. Can you sell it? Can you market it? Can you manage whatever it is you've got to manage? Can you manage the flow? Can you manage the contacts with your buyers, your vendors? Can you plan? Gonna have to be doing a lot of planning. And as we all know, especially during this last year, if anything ever happened to anybody, adapting is the most important thing we've all had to do this year based on the fact that COVID-19 hit us all. It's kind of scary and sad for those of us in the North State to think that only 2.5 years ago, we had to pivot the first time when all the fires hit. The big ones, the car fire, the camp fire. Last year we had an extra one, the Zog fire, unfortunately hit our area. So there's been all the fires too, and then they had the COVID on top. What a mess. So adaptability, the ability to pivot, that word's become very, very important here, pivoting. And you got to build that into your plan. You got to build that, go, what's going to happen next, right? It has forced a lot of businesses, especially retail establishments and even restaurants, to promote and to push online sales more than ever before. So one of the things I want you all to be thinking about, no matter what kind of business you're going into, is you're going to sell online. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to deliver it as well? Okay. One of the things I like to bring up at this section is it's always good to use an experience and your experience to come forward with what type of business you're going into. My business has to do with credit and credit repair. Funny, huh? 48 years in the credit industry. You notice I didn't open a pizza parlor, did I? I didn't go into food products. I stuck with what I knew, okay? There'll be a couple more analogies we'll bring up here in a little while about people that have started things based on, you know, even something they just did for fun. It's amazing. Then again, you know, do you have an employee or an employer mentality? The employee normally follows employer's instructions, works a 40-hour week, you have set scheduled times, get paid by the hour, you get a salary. You know, it says usually don't invest in the company, but of course, as an employee, you can with a 401k. Employers, you are the boss. You decide what's going to happen. You work as many hours as you need to do to get the job done. You set your own work schedule. Basically, it turns out to be 24/7. Mine is a service business, for instance. I help people with credit and credit issues. I get calls on Saturday. I get emails on Saturday. I get communicated on Sunday. Doesn't matter. So, you know, you got to be ready for that change. And you only get paid if the company makes money. Okay? You got expenses to pay first, you get paid last. And obviously you're investing in the company because it's your baby. It really is. And what are your personal goals? You know, is it important to have a lot of family time? Are talents more important? Do you have a location to be able to pull it off? And again, do you want income now or do you want income later? Okay, so where do we start after you've decided to go ahead and jump off the little cliff? Okay, I like to start with what I know best. Moolah, money. Money makes the world go round, and money actually helps you get that business off the ground. So obviously, where do you start first? You. Anything you have that you can use to get this business going, okay? Savings, piggy bank, 401k, okay? There's a program available through the IRS and your CPA that allows you to use your 401k to start a business. Takes a little while to get through the ROBS process, okay? And you'll be able to get at those funds legally. But we just had a client that recently bought a business from someone else and used the 401k as their main down payment. Okay, so it can be done. And don't forget about Aunt Millie, Uncle Bob, Grandma, you know, who there may be family members that are interested in funding your program as well. Because again, the more money you have, the less money you got to ask for. Okay, and to be real, most of the money and financial stuff that's been going on, especially in this last year, has been going towards saving existing businesses. Okay, good thing for sure, but there's not a lot of money out there flowing around for startups. It's become tougher. It's become tighter because, you know, as it did in 09 and 2008 and late 8 and 2009, early 2010, when the economy took that last downward swing, belts have been tightened in the financial industry. You know, the banks are going, you know, they're putting almost all their efforts into SBA disaster loan funding programs, PPP loans, you name it, it's to save those existing businesses. So startup money is tough to come by. So the more you get from family and friends and yourself, the better. Peer-to-peer, kind of tough. I like to use the analogy there that, let's say you wanted to open a pizza parlor in the Shasta County area. Well, you're not going to go to another guy who owns a pizza parlor in town and say, hey, can you help me out? Possibility of that happening is probably pretty slim, and rightfully so. Another competitor, right? But if you have a brother that's got a pizza parlor in Texas, well, poor Texas, huh? They got power issues. Like they were frozen this week. Anyway, another story. But if you have a pizza parlor, buddy, you know, like a brother in Texas got a pizza parlor, he may be able to really give you a lot of information, and maybe you might be willing to foot the bill because you're not going to compete with his pizza delivery service in Texas. So might happen. Crowdfunding, we talked about it briefly earlier, Kickstarter, GoFundMe. There are availabilities of utilizing those online platforms. Get your friends and buddies together to donate towards your cause. maybe I have a lot of people that sell hats with your logo, t-shirts, pins, whatever. And you can actually use that as a way to get people to actually donate towards your fundraiser, and you give them a hat, a couple, shirts, whatever. We had a client that made and sold a untippable kayak. How about that? The kayak with water wings that would deploy out the side and 3/4 of the way back of the kayak to give the kayak unbelievable stability. Okay. And that's what they decided to do is you donate X amount of dollars, you get one of the first kayaks off the assembly line. So they used that to build income up front so that they can then go and build their kayak with the money. See? So it can be done on crowdfunding as well. Angel investors, we do have a little Shark Tank right here in Shasta County. How about that? In fact, most communities in America today have angel investment groups. Some have a varied amount of investment groups. Ours happens to be one that's very interested currently in large scalable businesses, especially in the tech industry. They have a product that they're going to make that's got a good possibility of growing rapidly, and maybe could be sold to a big company for a quick, turnaround and investment. So they're looking at that. They did do retail and manufacturing for a while back 5 years ago. They've narrowed their focus a little bit, but there is an angel group right here in town that might be interested in investing. And venture capital doesn't normally happen until you're open for a while. But if your wife's brother or sister is married to a professional ball player that likes whatever, hey, that link might get you to a situation where that person might fund the whole thing because they like your product or service. So never look, anything is possible. Anything is possible, okay? All right, so the loan side, let's talk about the loans. You got conventional bank loans. In town in the Shasta County area, you got the big banks, the medium banks, and the small banks. Basically cut into three basic groups. You got the big ones, you got your Wells Fargo, Bank of America. I used to work for Bank of America, Chase, Citibank, okay? They all have their place. There's no doubt about it, but they are product driven. So they'll have product A, B, C, D, E. If you want G or H, it might be tough because they only have that product to go with, okay? Imagination, unfortunately, went away back in '97 when I left. I was one of many that left the company at that time because we couldn't use our imagination. We couldn't assist you locally. Then you have the medium-sized banks. You got your tri-counties, you got your Merchant Bank of Commerce, Umpqua, right? So you have a lot of different little banks in the area there. And they're great because they have some size and some creativity, okay? You want creativity when you're going in to find money. And then we got some small banks. Golden Valley is one. Their head office is in Chico. The other one that comes to mind, of course, is Cornerstone Community Bank. Cornerstone Community Bank, their head office is on Hartnell Avenue right here in beautiful downtown Redding. How about that? So the other kind of bank that I was in 1973, probably before many of you were born. Anyway, 1973, you'd come into the bank at Bank of America, you'd talk to me, sit down, fill out an application. I'd pull your credit report the next day or the afternoon. And I'd say yes or no after looking through your application and financial situation. If I said yes, you'd come in and give a check. I'd shake your hand, say thank you very much, keep me posted, and have a good day. That's how they do it at Cornerstone Community Bank. Don't get me wrong, if you do an SBA loan, which is the last one on this column here on the purple side to the left, SBA loans all have to go to Sacramento. Sacramento is the closest processing area for SBA. But for those local in-house loans that are done right in the bank, Cornerstone, Golden Valley are the ones that can make decisions quickly, locally, and not care about what's going on in, foreign countries of any type, or even New York. They don't care. Doesn't affect them. They care about Shasta, Trinity, Tehama, Siskiyou County. That's about it. So we're very lucky to have several opportunities up here of financing. Commercial finance companies, we have some links to some that I know of. I don't think we have any real commercial finance companies in Redding, okay? But we can sure hook you up if we feel it's going to be a help to you. Got a couple. We got a micro enterprise lender. How about that? Superior California Economic Development, the company I worked for about 7 years ago. I think it was 2012 was when I started. Early 2012 is when I started with them. They do local micro loans. You have a gentleman there by the name of Bob Nash. Those of you who are in the area might remember Nash Ranch over here off of Old Oregon Trail. It's got a wonderful pumpkin patch, a corn maze, a haunted house. During Halloween in October, he's open to the public. They come out there and have, a train ride for the kids. Bob's an old banker too. How about that? He not only owns the ranch, but he used to be a banker in the valley, Sacramento, greater Sacramento Valley, like I used to be a Bank of America. And so he can do loans. Their wheelhouse for local micro enterprise loans is about 15,000 up to 50,000. Okay. Business plans got to be good. Forecasts have got to be beautiful. He and I work together to try to get that done, get the answer done. They make their decision right there in the building. And they're over off Hartnell as well. So they're close by. Okay. So that's a cool option and it's available. Economic development loans, we don't really have any that I'm aware of in the area today, okay? Some economic development corporations in the United States have their own funding mechanisms. Depending on what type of business you want to open, they may be able to help fund you direct, okay? And of course, SBA loans. There are two main types, the 7A program and the 504. 504 is set up to buy buildings for the most part, and construction and build out of those buildings, and the 7A program for everything else, equipment, startup, cash flow, employee expense, payroll, the 7A program. What's neat about the SBA programs are they're guaranteeing to the bank that if you have a problem, they're going to cover, okay? And in the 504 loan program, they have a 40% loan on your building, fixed rate up to 25 years, and the rate is crazy low right now. So neat program, a little higher in fees, right? A little longer to get it done because they have to send it to Sacramento to get it done. But suffice it to say is another option available at all banks, financial institutions, for the most part, and I know all of them here in Shasta County, will do an SBA loan for you, okay? Educate yourself about loans. I'm starting to do that. We can do it even more if you come in to see me, okay? We can narrow it down specifically for your business type. Credit. One of the things you can do now before you even get started is to start verifying, if you don't already know, where you stand on the credit end. Because no matter whether you open up a sole proprietorship or a corporation, your personal credit is going to mean a lot. Okay, so I'll tell you on the next slide here how to get the credit report. We can actually help you and assist you with that repair work and give you a list of how to fix that stuff. And I can review it for you right here at SBDC when you sign up for service. Pretty good deal, okay? If needed, then start and begin the credit repair. Maybe you forgot to pay a dentist bill for 50 bucks. Pretty easy to fix if it's gone to collection. Go over and pay the sucker, ask for them to remove it. They may not, but at least they'll show it as paid. You get a 10 or 15 point bump to your credit score. If they take it off, it might be up to 30 points higher. Wow, what a deal, right? I had a client do that a couple of years back now. Time goes by so quick, but She had 5 little doctor bills. The total was under $200. She went in, said, you know, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to open a business, but this is holding me back. Here, I'd love to pay these off. And by the way, I'm trying to open a business. Could you remove them? I told her, I said, you know, it may not work, okay, but it's worth a shot. All they can do is say yes or no, right? I mean, they're going to take the money either way. Sure enough, they pulled them off. She had a 70-point increase in 30 days to her credit score because it worked. See? So there's a lot of options to do on credit repair that we can work with, okay? And of course, the business plan. And we'll get to that in a little bit, a few slides down the road, okay? So how do you check your score? There are several ways. Your score can be checked utilizing one of your credit card companies. A lot of them offer a free credit score. Or creditkarma.com. I set it up myself for a quarterly review every time. Or if there's a 10-point move up or down, they'll send me a notification email. Pretty sweet. So I know when things are going south, and I know things, you know, when things are going, you know, north or better. So Credit Karma gives you it's not a FICO score, but it's close enough, and it gives you an idea about what direction your score is going. The way you want it to go is up, obviously. And when it goes down, you got to figure out a reason and start to fix it. So that's for the score, and it's free, no charge, doesn't hurt anything. How do you find out what's on the reports? What's the list look like? Annualcreditreport.com. So you can go to annualcreditreport.com, pull one or all 3 of the reports once per calendar year. And there's the 3 companies, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Okay. So you pull them. Experian's the old TRW, 1973. That's what we pulled, TRW. The other 2 weren't around in 73. Experian took over TRW, bought them out. And then Equifax and TransUnion was started. And you can we pull them in rotation at our house. My wife and I pull ours in January and February. Maybe we pull Experian and TransUnion in May and April, April, May. And in September, October, we'll pull the Equifax. So that way we know what's going on during the year, and then we rotate it every year. It's all free of charge, once per calendar year, no effect on your score. So pretty cool way to do it. Oh, and if you come in for credit repair, want to take a look, that's what I'm going to have you pull anyway, and we'll go over it together. Okay, so there's kind of the money piece, brief money piece. Now let's get into the market. So where did your idea come from? Where have you seen it used before? Who are your customers going to be? Hopefully you're thinking about that or know it already. Are you entering a market that has a demand? What are you doing better than everybody else? What's your niche or your benefit? Are there unmet needs? Maybe yours does something the other ones don't. And obviously survey potential customers. I have a gentleman who started a salsa manufacturing company out of his backyard. Okay, talk about market analysis. He used to make salsa on weekends for his pool parties around his pool. And he had friends and relatives he'd bring over in the summertime, and they said, "Boy, that's the best salsa I ever had." Okay. And so he said, "Really?" And eventually, and he worked for a grocery store, local grocery store, in the produce department. How handy is that, huh? So that's where he started. He went to his boss and said, "Hey, I'm going to get some tubs, make some labels, get all the information you got to get on the label, right? Got to get how many how much of each goes into the salsa, how many calories it is, etc. Putting all the label stuff. And can I try selling it in the aisle here, a first batch, and see how it goes?" So he pulled a little Costco deal, right? So he put his salsa in the freezer, got a table in the aisle, opened up some chips, and sold his salsa for the people that came and taste tested in the aisle. sold in an hour, full batch, gone. So he went to his boss, said, hey, can I sell it over here? You know, find me a little place in the refrigerated section here so I can sell. He said, sure. So he started out there and he went to, started out in the holiday markets, and then he went to Safeway. He went to Rayleigh's. He was in Tops that used to be down west of town. Eventually, after a 5-year run, he was in all the Northern California Rayleigh's and Safeways, Chico area, all the way up north to Wairika, and ended up in 25 stores in California for Winco at his height. Okay. All started from his backyard. His market test was friends and relatives. Well, something. So you never know where their business start may come from. Obviously, it's best if you have a team. We are already on your team. Okay. So we are there for you. You got a bunch of us. All right. And again, you're going to need to have a product and service, and marketing and sales, and a financial management. Okay. Oh, yeah. We're part of the financial management team. Yes, Linda.
One of our attendees is a carpenter looking to offer services directly to homeowners, specializing in small but quality custom projects. So I know how much you like to use specific examples that relate to our people joining us.
Yeah, that's terrific. And you've got the capability, you got one leg up there. Pun intended. One leg up there. Talking about manufacturing, stools here. You can sell product online very easily. Etsy, one that comes to mind. There are several online places where you can sell product that you design to make. We have a client that we have worked with through the EDC that makes little children's headwear. I'm having a hard, David will probably remember it before I do. It's turbans for tots, tots for turban. I think it's turbans for tots. And she sells a ton of these custom made head wraps for babies on Etsy. And she started from her garage. Okay. So, it's amazing what you can sell utilizing these online support.
Joe?
Yes.
Can I give you an example of how sales happen in unexpected ways?
Of course.
I have someone in the chat saying, tell me who the contractor or tell me who the carpenter is. I want to know. Cameron, let us know, where are you located? Feel free to put your microphone on. Oh, Cameron's in Canada.
Oh, wow.
That might not work for someone that might be local, but this is just a great example of sharing what you do with a group of people and you don't know who's listening. You may have customers right there for you.
Exactly. I've noticed that in chamber groups lately. We're doing a lot of chamber groups. Rotary clubs are doing online Zooms. There's more connection sometimes on these Zoom calls than it used to be when we were shaking hands and telling everybody how our kids were doing. You get actually a lot more information traded on business now, sometimes on Zoom, than you ever did before. It's kind of fascinating. And you've got product sales you can do once we open up again. Obviously, I'm hoping and praying that we get, the farmers markets fully open, the events at the fairgrounds fully open, the bee festival here in Redding fully opened again, where you can get a table and spend $100 to be there for 2 days in your booth selling what you make. I tell you what, you make a bundle doing that. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can do if you make your own product, for sure. Any other questions looming at the moment before we make it legal?
We don't have anything yet other than asking more. Oh, unfortunately, Cameron, the person looking for your service is located in California, not Canada. So, but it just shows how when you share with people what your skills are, there are people out there looking for you. So if
Exactly.
you do have questions for Joe, please type them in the chat, or right now you're welcome to turn on your microphone and ask the question directly. Joe loves to give examples specific to your industry. So the more he knows about the various industries of people that are participating, the more he can bring that up. Yes, Usha.
Sorry, I think still would like to connect. I think this is the first time I'm ever hearing carpentry, because the services that I'm looking is carpentry. So I would love to connect to see what kind of services and what he provides. That would be great.
Wonderful.
Okay, Cameron, if you would like me to pass your information on, please type it to me in the chat, an email of how you can be reached, and I'd be glad to pass it on to that other attendee.
Exactly. Links like this are very, very, very good.
That's the beauty of the way we can connect now. You can actually provide valuable service with a telephone call of giving someone good advice.
Exactly. So legal structure, a lot of people start asking this question. It's one of the thoughts I'd like you to consider before you come in and see us. This is all, by the way, a setup, hopefully, for you to get prepared, for you to make an appointment with Emily to come see one of us, hopefully me, and we can then individualize this a lot better, okay? This is a broad stroke. We're going to narrow it down for you. All right, so there's 4 basic types of business. There's a lot of them in between, but there's 4 basic types. Sole proprietor is the first one. That's what mine is, okay? Sole proprietor. Joe, I'm the president, vice president, secretary, and the, guy that sweeps the floor, all right? I'm the whole thing. If something happens to me, my business ceases to exist, because all the information that I get, I regurgitate out and tell people about. And so I am the business. No employees, keeps it clean. Very easy. If I make money, I get it. There you go. Sole proprietor. Partnership, more than one person. You can be 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, whatever it is. Normally have a partnership agreement if you're going to become official. Always suggest you do that. That way you know who gets what when. Okay. Both the sole proprietor and partnership, you have personal liability. That means if you get sued, okay, your personal assets are at risk potentially, depending on what your risk is, okay? I tell people stuff. I disclaim the heck out of the stuff I tell people and give it to them, right? Check with your CPA, check with your attorney, but this is what I know, all right? And I don't, cut lawns, mow grass, cut trees, climb ladders, clean gutters. No, I don't do anything that's risky. My biggest risk is walking in and out of a doorway, maybe driving from point A to point B. That's it. That's it. So higher the risk, more the liability, and the more you have to protect yourself. LLC is the middle ground, limited liability. Limited liability is an entity separate. By the way, partnerships, sole proprietors, a lot of times will use social security numbers as their tax ID. LLC has its own tax identification number. It becomes separate. The LLC pays you, okay, for the most part, gives you separation, more protection against personal lawsuits. And the most protection comes from corporations, several different types, okay, several. We normally talk about corporation C and S, but suffice it to say, we have those types, okay, for sure. And corporation is the most expensive to set up, okay? Cost you between $1,000, $2,000, depending on where you get it done. LLC's a good $200 to $250, $275, unless you're really good at doing the paperwork for the state of California, okay? LLC also has another little ding in it. And that ding is you have to pay $800 a year minimum to the state, even if you don't make $1. So it's got some costs involved that are kind of, they're fairly high compared to other states in the union when it comes to LLC, guaranteed. Sole proprietorship's the cheapest. You can start a sole proprietor if you use your surname in the business and for about $100. It's not very expensive to do. And we'll talk about how to do that in a minute. Licensing depends on where you are. Okay, there are licenses required currently in Shasta County in 3 incorporated cities: Anderson, Shasta Lake, and Redding. So if you're in Palisadro, Shingletown, Bernie, Cottonwood, okay, Lakehead, and opening a business, technically no license is required. You may have to have certifications if you're a restaurant, so forth and so on, but a business license? No. A business license is one of the least expensive things on the list anyway. It's about 50, 75, 60 bucks, depending on the city and you're getting opened in. Normally only need 1 license. If, for instance, if you're opening a business in Palisadro, and you're doing a lot of business in Redding, I suggest you check into a city of Redding license anyway. Okay, it's a little blue slip of paper, makes you official. It makes it easier to sell product. It makes it easier to get a table at the convention center or the fairgrounds or wherever it is you're going. If you're going to sell product, farmer's market, they like all that kind of official documentation. Okay, you may want to do it anyway. All right, but it's not required. Tax ID number again, we talked about that earlier. Sole prop, I just use my social security number. As I am the business is me. Okay, Joe Rodola's Debt Consulting. That's my side gig. That's technically what got me this job, to tell you the truth, because I had that side business open and I was a credit guy. So that's where it's all evolved and started from. Okay, so sole prop. Okay, and I just use my tax ID number, social security. There's the corporate seal, of course, unless you're sole proprietorship, state of California runs that. State income tax, franchise tax board, I think it's called something else now, but that's basically the state tax division. Okay. And if you have employees, you're going to have workers' comp, you're going to have wage and hour laws, occupational safety and hazard, and now you have COVID. Okay, COVID requirements. So a lot of things you got to think about before you get that employee on staff, that's for sure. You got to provide employees with information on discrimination and harassment, some requirements depending on how many people you got. You got to have classes and seminars you got to send these people to. And of course, register with the EDD, Unemployment Office. If you sell a product, if you sell this watch, okay, sell this watch, collect sales tax. Okay, sales tax. I think Redding, we're still 7.25%, 7.25. Each county or city could be different. So you have to check what the regulations are in the city in which you operate. I think Anderson has a 1/2 cent extra tax, and I'm guessing now, I remember seeing it sometime or another, they have a 1/2 cent tax for something they're trying to get. Police maybe. Seller's permit. How about if you sell a service? Knock on wood, Sacramento hadn't figured out how to tax that yet. Yay. I'm not counting my chickens, but hopefully it'll stay that way. So right now, when I charge you to go to one of my classes outside of this, no tax. It's just what the dollar amount is, boom, done. Okay, so, but if you have a product, sales tax is involved, and you got to send it to the state, and you have to send it to them electronically. By the way, we have a fantastic trainer on QuickBooks, Rebecca, okay? She was one of the pictured people on the front page there when we got in there. She's wonderful. Classes on QuickBooks, got them, okay? We have a 3-day class if you want to get real heavy into it. It's a whopper, all right? Well attended and well liked. So we can help you with QuickBooks. It helps you because QuickBooks will help you separate the funds that need to go where, when, and it'll help guide you through the process of making sure you get rid of it at the right time. You don't get any fines. Fictitious business name. Let's talk about that now. We talked about it earlier, but now I'm going to get into it a little bit. Fictitious name. If you do not use your surname in the business, okay? Joe Rodola's Debt Consulting. So Rodola's in my name of my business. No fictitious name requirement. Saves you about $150 when all is said and done. You got to go to the county, get an application now online. You got to fill it out. You got to send the money to them. Then you take the form, you got to go to a newspaper, put it in the newspaper for 4 weeks. That's what costs the most. And then you can open your business. That also delays the opening a lot of times of your business because you're waiting for the fictitious name to be done. Okay. If I went JR Debt Consulting, that's fictitious. I would have had to file. Okay. In my case, using the business, my surname in the business, I could open within a week. Sole proprietor, out of my house, not going to have people come to me to do stuff at the house, no traffic issues. Give them my $75 with the filing fee, first year's business license and a setup. Get $10 worth of business cards at Vista Print. Ta-da. So you can open a business, operate out of your house for very little money. Very little money. Business license, we talked about the cities that require it. Land use zoning. If you're going to have a child care service, if you're going to have a assisted living, if you're going to have bed and breakfast, whole bunch of rules, okay? The county's got to get involved. The city's going to be involved, depending on where it's located, okay? And so got to get approvals on that. Got to make sure your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted. And if you're food service, public safety. Technically, although it's not easy, you can make certain types of product, it's called cottage food rules, out of your house, okay? But if you're dealing with meat and a lot of other stuff, you got to have a commercial kitchen. That is where it gets a little more technical. By the way, we do have a rentable commercial kitchen in town. A lot of people don't know that. It's called Sizzles, located on the corner of Placer and, well, it's by Cascade Theater.
Market, Placer and Market.
Market, very good, yeah. In fact, Market Street is opening on the north end next week, so it's very exciting. Sizzles, great place. You can bake stuff right there legally and sell it, boom. In fact, they have a little area where you can sell stuff. So cool place to know. We can guide you that way as well. CalGold, David turned me on to this website. I'll tell you what, this is cool. Calgold.ca.gov pops up right here to this screen. Select your city or county, okay? Put it in there. Enter your business type. It's got a drop-down box. Get it as close as you can. Press search, and it gives you a list of all the potential certifications and contact information and rules and licenses that you may need to open that business. That's a cool thing to bring in with you when you make your appointment as well, okay? We can then come and talk turkey, okay, about what you're going to be needing. Got any new questions coming up at the moment?
No, nothing right now. Feel free to put your questions in the text, in the chat, or you're welcome to put your microphone on right now and talk.
Give it another second before I proceed. Idea to reality time. It's business planning time. We just had a great adjusted, in fact, it was, I can't remember, I guess it was last week, huh? We had that business plan class. Well received, well liked. I liked the presentation because we talked about a nice way to get that first business plan on paper. Get it from the napkin, as we talk about, get it from the napkin idea to a semi-formalized one-page document. Pretty sweet. That's what we talk about here, okay? So here we go. Do they want what you got? Do you have something people like? Do you have the money to do it? Can you pull it off? Can you produce enough? Can you get it out to the public for a reasonable cost to you? And can you actually produce? One of the problems we had with one of our clients, happened to be the kayak business, was getting production ramped up fast enough for the demand. Sometimes being well liked and wanted is not a good thing. It can be a backfire. So you want to grow steady, you want to grow nice so you can keep up with the thing. So can you do it? Can you keep the product line moving? Very important piece of this questions. Obviously, the best place to be is right there in that little baby kind of triangle in the middle. That's the best spot, sweet spot as we call it. Okay, so what is the problem? Wants or needs to solve? How many customers are going to want to have the product? One of the things you want to find out is what your competition really is. Okay, for the kayak people, for instance, we had everything from inflatable boats. You got inflatable pontoon boats. You had foldable boats. You had the little kayaks at Walmart, $200 ones, you know. You had a bunch of other companies that were building various types of kayaks, self-propelled with pedal kayaks, you know, some with kayaks with sails. I mean, you had all sorts of things. Only thing that was new about this particular concept was, patent pending, by the way, was this fold-out pontoon deal. Pretty cool, in my opinion. Very specialized, very specialized. Okay, will they buy from you? And how much are they willing to pay? Obviously, in this particular case, it wasn't the $200 kayak that these people were building. No. This was a between $2,000 and $3,000 kayak when all was said and done. This was not for everybody. It was for the fisherman, the hunter, the diver. It was for sportsmen in a very particular area. Okay, somebody that didn't want to buy a fancy $40,000, $30,000, $50,000 boat to go fishing could afford $2,500. See, so that was how they started. Do you have the skills and experience? Of course, the time to build and operate the business. Do you have the experience, skill to succeed? And can you create the plan? Okay, so what are you selling? Cost of goods. A lot of people had questions about cost of goods. What's the cost of goods? I'll use the watch again. You pay $1 for the watch. Okay. You sell it for $2. So you have $2 is your revenue. $1 is your cost of goods. So your gross revenue is the difference, $1. Okay. Then you have other expenses. But suffice it to say, cost of goods is what you pay for the product up front that you're selling to me for a bigger price. Do you have a supply chain to keep up? Obviously, can you produce it? And our service, how do you value the service? Time is money. Time is money, okay? And can you grow? Are you gonna sell business to business or business to consumer? Okay, so are you a retail seller or a wholesale seller? Good question, huh? Are there people waiting for what you have and they don't have the ability to get it yet? That's a good deal, right? Target customers, people who would like and could and use the service or product. My particular service or product, I hate to use it, but I'm going to use it because, you know, it's something, unfortunately, it takes place. Credit is always important and technically can be important to everyone at any given time. So credit repair, understanding how to manipulate and work the credit that you have is always needed. Okay. You may not want to ask for help, but it's a needed commodity. Okay. A lot of things. Toilet paper manufacturing. There you go. That's a product everybody needs all the time. Okay. There's a lot of people making it, but suffice it to say, that's a product that probably will not go away. Okay, so sometimes you get lucky, you got a product like that. All right, so that's one of the things to think about when you're going into business. You need a physical space. Can you do it out of your home? Obviously, doing it out of your home is the cheapest. Do you have a territory to sell to, or do you have unlimited territory? Can you sell to people in Australia, Canada, Mexico, China? Who knows, right? My particular product is really effectively sold Shasta, Trinity County, maybe a little of Tehama and South Siskiyou, that's it. Product's a limited geographic area. To really do it the way it should be done, which I like face-to-face. A lot of people don't care about face-to-face anymore. I'm the guy that's going to help you do it face-to-face, old school, okay? You like online, there's a lot of places that'll help you. My old company I worked for, ClearPoint Credit Counseling Service, CCCS, they'll do it for you online and by the phone, no problem. Closest office, Sacramento. They closed mine down in 2010. Guess why I opened my business. Anyway, so suffice it to say, you know, it depends on what you're selling and to whom as to where your territory will be. We cool? Anybody else got any quickie questions before we go into business plans?
Nothing in the chat, Joe.
Wonderful. Business plan. First of all, I have to talk about the nasty. Why do small businesses fail? And we're not going to count COVID. COVID, unfortunately, is a reality that has created a problem that's going to close a lot of businesses. I am sad to admit that my wife's favorite dress shop that she happens to work for in the downtown mall, Christopher Banks, has a week left before it fully closes as a company. Another company bites the dust. Now, it was biting the dust before COVID hit. COVID hit, final kind of nail in the coffin. Retail's a toughie, all right? I don't have to tell anybody that. Retail's a toughie. So Christopher Banks is done, helped by the COVID closures and the fact that you can't have a lot of people in their store, okay? So it could happen to anybody. They've been around for years. By the way, their stock price today was 4 cents, 4 cents a share. So these are important pieces for you as you move forward. Business plan, do you have enough cash? Are you committed? Do you have too much competition? You have just enough. Do you have the skills and experience? Do you have customers? Can you say no? That's kind of a fascinating concept. You're gonna have to be able to say no. You can't say yes all the time, okay? And can you keep good records? Heaven forbid, that's hugely important. One-page business plan. David, our wonderful boss, with our assistance, massaged and changed our business plan class from last week and converted it to getting the ability for you guys to create the one-page business plan successfully and simply. We're going to teach that again soon. That's going to come up again because that was well-liked and I enjoyed teaching it. All right. This is a kind of a discussion about the one-page plan. That's the place to start. What's your product? How are you going to sell it? Who are you going to sell it to? How much you're going to sell it for? And what do you think you're going to make? And what are your expenses going to be? Start thinking about all those 4 or 5 things, okay? Yeah, there's a place to go to get a fancy plan. Depends on how much money you have to go after. We'll guide you through that process as well, okay? And you may want to make a pitch deck. And the pitch deck is basically one of these PowerPoint presentations that lists, and you can convey to your investors, you know, what it is you're going to sell, how you're going to sell it, who you're going to sell it to, how you're going to market it, how much you're going to sell it for, and how much you're going to make. They have something called pitch breakfasts at the EDC, Economic Development Center. We're going to talk about them shortly again. You can practice pitch. If you set it up early enough, practice pitch your idea in front of a group of kind of people that are going to tell you, hey, how to fix it, change it, adjust it, whatever. Hey, that's good, that's bad. before you pitch in front of an investment group. That's pretty cool, okay? And we can walk you through that step as well. And obviously, when we get to the financial forecast, which is, by the way, my wheelhouse, I love to help you with those. Don't be afraid. We're going to work on that together. In the last couple of weeks, I've been working on about 6, 7 different people that are needing financial forecasts. They're working on buying existing businesses, by the way. A lot of those for sale as well. Be on the lookout. So what you want to do, obviously, is figure out where is your break-even point? How quickly are you going to be able to get to it? And even more, when are you going to get to the blue section? Profit. Because the banks and financial institutions are going to want to know how quickly you can make payments and start making money for you. So we can calculate that when we do our financial forecasts together. I like to do expenses first. If you got rent, do lights, do phone, do internet, do all the easy things to identify, insurance, do all the easy things to identify on the expense side first. Then we can figure out how many of these you got to sell to pay the piper, right? So that's a good idea, see? And at the end of the year, we have another class that we're teaching as well. It's called Simplified Financial Tracking and Taxes. The 2 Joes teach this one, kind of a fun class. We have a tax person that's one of our advisors, and we do the easy tax prep, sole proprietor, easy tax prep. You take the profit and loss statement, convert it at the end of the year into one of these. It's called a Schedule C, okay? So as a sole proprietor, you list how much you made at the top on line 1, put all your expenses in the middle section there in part 2, and it all ends up at the bottom when you subtract line 31, net profit or loss. Hopefully it's a profit. Many people that came to us for assistance within the last year did not know what this was, and they were in business for themselves. We're trying to help you guys never do that. You'll know it from the beginning what this is. If you're a corporation, you'll have a different form. If you're an LLC, you may have a different form. Sole proprietor, you're going to have this form. The last 10 years, I've had this form. The last 20 years, my wife, as a real estate agent, had this form as a sole prop, okay? You pay tax on line 31. You do not pay tax on line 1. It's not how much you make in revenue, it's how much your profit is at the bottom line. You hear about bottom line? Line 31 is bottom line. Good suggestion, never make 31, line 31, 0. You do not want to have, I mean, it's great for the IRS if you have 0 on line 31, you owe no tax. Okay, great. But if you want to borrow money to expand and you got 0 on 31, guess what the bankers are going to say? You don't have enough money to get more debt. You can't make a payment. You got 0 left right now. Well, I had people come into me and do that, but I was in the banking industry all the time. Joe, I made $1 million last year. This was 20 years ago. $1 million was a lot of money 20 years ago. Okay. And I'd say, okay, great. You made that much. What was your profit? 0. Oh, and you want to buy a $100,000 piece of equipment? Well, yeah, you know, I didn't. No, I don't want to know that. I had one guy said at one time, say he had 2 sets of books. Don't want to know that at all. So don't go to line 31 and say 0, I win. Not a good idea, okay? Whoops, I jumped. Any questions?
No questions.
We're cooking with gas. Here is a wonderful group of acronyms. How about that? We live in a world of acronyms. SCED, SCORE, WBC, BDC, PTAC, SMART. Yeah, well, these are what they are and what they mean, okay?
And Joe,
SCED is Superior California Economic Development.
Joe,
They're
we
a
should,
micro lender. What was that, Linda? You had a question?
we should make sure everyone knows that you're going to share your slide deck with them. They're
Yes.
welcome to pull out a phone and take a picture of this slide because there's great information here, but you are sharing the slide deck. Emily will send an email in a couple days with a link to the recording as well as a copy of Joe's PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. You're absolutely right. You don't have to remember this. Well, it's nice if you did, but suffice it to say, there's a lot of stuff here, okay? So SCED, Superior California Economic Development, that's the one that's run by Bob Nash, good guy. And he's, again, does the microloans. Also, he has a young man in there, Ryan Richardson, who is one of only 2 504 SBA lenders. He's called the CDC, by the way, where his little office is in the SCED office that does the 504 SBA loans right here in town. Packager. He packages them up, and he knows 504s like the back of his hand. Good little golfer too. Good buddy. Like him. Okay. SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. We have an office of them up here as well. They help with business planning. They are also paid by SBA, and can supplant what we do. Women's Business Center at Jedi, fabulous group. They help with becoming certified women-owned business. They're across town where we're moving in a week. Very exciting. We'll be within 2 blocks of Tricia at the Women's Business Center, WBC. We're kind of brother-sister organizations, literally. And they're funded by SBA as well. And they can work on, of all things, nonprofit organizations or people that want to start a nonprofit business. We're limited in that area, but they aren't. So a lot of times we'll send our nonprofit requests through them. EDC, Economic Development Corp. They're involved with economic growth. They're also located downtown. They're actually on Auditorium Drive. Todd runs that, great guy. And Megan, one of our other consultants, works with him. And they can help with identifying impact zones and other things that are in the area of finding places. And they're really involved with manufacturing and high tech. PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance. If you are a veteran, a disabled veteran, want to become a certified veteran-owned business, which becomes real handy. For instance, I'll just throw out the analogy. I've probably done a half dozen guys wanting to get water trucks in the last couple of years. CAL FIRE, fires in the North State, water trucks. Well, guess what? If you're a disabled veteran-owned business and have a water truck and you're certified, guess who they're going to go to first? Right? So it becomes a real handy thing to have when you want to do contracts with the government, state, federal, county, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So PTAC does a lot of our certification work, especially for veterans. All these services, again, are free. Smart Center, you want to hire somebody, do not discount the Smart Center, okay? They have programs available for you to hire people that, in some cases, depending on the job, may be able to cover their full training in 90-day time period and help pay for the salary during that 90 days, depending on the job. I've had several businesses go after their first employee, go through the Smart Center. Yeah, that's a good deal, all right? You don't have to pay somebody the 90 days you're training them. You say they don't make it, right? They just don't hack the deal. You're not out anything but time. So Smart Center's got some cool programs, and the Chamber of Commerce, especially if you're going to be selling product, whether it's local or otherwise. The Chamber is a great place. Jake Mangus runs the Redding Chamber. We also have communication contact with Anderson and Shasta Lake and Bernie. Chambers are cool. You can get together with people that sell stuff in your community. There are Rotary clubs and other organizations you can join, but Chamber of Commerce, one time a year, you pay one fee and you get referrals directly from the chamber. And Redding Chamber has really become fantastically active. So guess what? Looks like we covered all the goodies, didn't we? Discovery, making it legal, ideas, business plan. So now what do you want to do? Make your one-page, easy to look at business plan. Get a name figured out, maybe a logo or close to it. Ideas on logos would help. And make an appointment to see us. Emily, you contact us at the numbers we're about to give you. Set up an appointment to come in and see us. We'll be happy to go over your individual situation. And don't forget to check the calendars that I'm about to give you some contact information on, because we got a ton of classes, okay? This is our new slide. Emily, our wonderful Emily, made it for us because guess what? We are 2021 savvy, aren't we? We got all the Twitter, and the only thing we don't do is TikTok. I don't quite understand TikTok. Anyway, we got our website, SBDCSC.org. We sign up a lot of our classes through Eventbrite. We have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have a YouTube, and we have a LinkedIn address, okay? Please go on these sites. Please like us, hit the thing. We got to get as many people on here as possible so we can offer as many people the best things that we can do. Classes. We have a 1 minute, a quick video that was called the NorCal Minutes that David instituted a year or so ago. We tried to get quick little tidbits of information on our YouTube channel. Fabulous deal there. I had one post yesterday. I thought, I forgot I did that one. It's kind of fun. So that's all ours. Again, you don't have to write these down. You're going to get the deck, so you'll have them all. And you'll know where all the classes are when they're happening. Okay. So thank you very much. Here is our address. Currently, we're located at 5800 Airport Road for another, 10 days. And then we're moving down to Sacramento Street, downtown Redding. Like I say, very exciting times. We're moving down to the downtown hub, the new downtown hub, starting in a week or so. So March 1st, we'll hopefully be active in our new digs. There's Emily's email address. Again, she's our admin. She does a wonderful job setting appointments. There's our official website, www.sbdcsc.org. And if you're out of our area, this is a way to find out where the SBDC offices are, find your local SBDC. And again, any other final questions before we wrap this baby up?
We don't have any in the chat. If you'd like to put your microphone on, you're welcome to. Joe, I just posted in the chat the link to our survey.
Oh,
we would
wonderful.
love for people to complete the survey, and you can click on that link and it will take you to a website, and you can feel free to fill it out after our webinar is over. We want to find out what you think of this presentation. The SBDC would love to be able to report back to our funders what you're thinking of the experience. And we also want to take any feedback you have for us, because we're constantly adjusting the webinars. If there's a topic that you wished we spent more time on for this Start Your Business, we would love to know, because we can add that to the next version. And also, if there are new topics you would like to see webinars on, we want to create webinars that people are asking for. So there's quite a few questions in that survey, and we'd love your feedback.
Exactly. And I can tell you from experience that many of the classes and webinars that we have done in the last year especially have come from these evaluation that you produce and send back. Okay, I'd like to know more about this, or I'd like to know more about that. Okay, there are a lot of things that people are interested in finding out about. And now that we do these webinars, as you noticed tonight, we're pulling in people from outside the area, okay? Sometimes outside the country. I think we had somebody listen in one night it was like somewhere in the Far East someplace. It was Japan or somewhere. And it was like, wow, how far reaching can this be? So thank you for your feedback. Thank you.
And Joe, one other thing I want to mention, I have people posting their email addresses in the chat. When you registered for this webinar, we have your email on file. So I do see someone that posted an email. I'm going to double check that. I'll have Emily check to make sure we have your email on file. But when you registered for this webinar, it should have asked for your email. So hopefully we have it, but if not, we will make sure that we do.
That way we can get this deck to you for sure.
Right.
So thank you again, everyone. If there's no final questions, we're a tad early, but not bad.
And Joe, I'm going to keep the system open a little longer because we do have some questions coming in. Let me make sure that they're addressed. I'm not sure if they're sending me notes or not, but let's stay here
Excellent.
for just another moment.
Of course.
We have someone who watched from the East Coast and said they learned a lot, said, be safe, thanks. We have
Wonderful.
someone else that said, thank you so much, I got to run.
That's the other cool thing about these. You can come in, you can come out. I mean, it's a great pop in, pop out type situation as well.
Right. And when they know they're getting the recording and to have the ability to watch and ask questions, and then you have the recording you can go back to, or if you have to leave early, we had someone in the text say they have to leave early. We understand that happens and they can go to the recording. It'll take about 3 days for Emily to get the recording out to everyone. So just understand that.
Yeah, there is a slight delay.
So there's a question on how I can grow my podcast. Megan did a podcast webinar a few days ago. I am not sure if that's something that's getting posted in general or not, but that is one of the webinars that we offer. So I can make a note here and yep, I'm going to jot down a little notes and see if that's if that link is something we can make available to you.
Yeah,
They're asking for the link for the how
For
to
the
do
podcast, right.
Okay.
I can. David, I have just a general question. When the links for a webinar are available, is it only for the people who attend, or are they made available to anyone?
No, it's available to anyone.
Oh, great. I didn't know that.
On our YouTube channel.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you. I just I was having problems with my tablet and I had to redo the Zoom on my phone, and my phone wasn't set up. The whole time I was listening to you guys, I realized my name just said iPad, so I had put my name on there. So I really want to thank you guys. I really enjoyed it. So thank you a lot. And I do have a podcast and I would love any information because I'm trying to monetize it as well as grow my audience.
Okay.
fantastic. That was well received the other day. I understand the podcast webinar.
Yeah, I'm putting the link to how to start a podcast in here now. Now, in addition, she has one on pitching for publicity, which is really how to, I'm going to put that one in as well. It's really one on how to market your podcast and how to get people, get more viewers, or not viewers, you don't view a podcast, more listeners. That's right. That's what you do.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Anyway, those should be in the chat, those two links.
I see them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's amazing to me as an old dude, what is available for small businesses that I'm going to just say 5 years ago weren't around. It's amazing to me. It's mind-boggling. Relative that had an idea for a book. Okay, it's a sci-fi, mixed sci-fi and type of a book that he had in his mind. So he starts writing. Okay, he's like in his mid-50s, and he starts writing. He's now on his third book. He is selling through Amazon. He can sell page by page his book, or he can sell the book, and now he's turning it into those audio books. The guy is, it's just amazing to me. And he's selling hundreds and hundreds of these books all online that he decided to do, you know, at the age of 55. And you know, it's a sci-fi whodunit is really what it is, a combination. And isn't that amazing? 5, 6, 7 years ago, are you kidding me? You know, that would have never happened. You know, he did some paper production books. You can buy it, you know, with a paper on it. But most of his sales are, you know, online, you know, and downloading to your reader. He's making a lot more money on reader downloads than he ever is with a paperback, you know. That's
Yeah, technology is changing everything. Because like nowadays, I have a friend whose son is in the entertainment business, and he actually makes more money just selling one song than people used to back in the day, making, you know, like 12 songs on a CD or an album. He makes one because the millions of people can stream the one song. So technology has definitely enhanced the landscape. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that.
No, I appreciate it because it's so different, you know, and so new. I used to buy a CD for one song. I remember, you know, it wasn't that long. I used to buy an album for one song.
Yeah.
Right? And like you
Yeah.
say, now you can see get the song, find the song. You want the video, you can see the video too, and you can save it, and you can buy the one song. I mean, that's just incredible to me. It's
Yeah.
one of my prior lives, if we got a couple minutes left, if any more questions, I was actually a disc jockey back in my high school and early college days. I had a show on Saturday night, rock and roll on an AM station in Petaluma, California. So I'm a music lover from way back when I was a kid in the 60s. All right. So I remember the Beatles when they first came out, and I was, you know, I fell in love, but I've been involved with music and loving music since the 60s. Aretha Franklin, you know, the Supremes. Are you kidding me? And
Yeah,
so,
we have that in common. I just downloaded a song by Rosemary Clooney called Sway, and I can't get the song out of my mind. And I was able to buy that song from 1959 called Sway. And my husband is like, "What are you listening to?" So it's just amazing. Yeah,
it is.
amazing.
And we had such beautiful singers all through history. And now
Yeah,
you find them online. It's so easy
yeah.
to find that song. And if you want to watch them singing the song, it's easy to do that. It's insane. So anyway, yeah, I agree. So thank you all again very much. We're just about out of time here on our
Well,
nice-
thanks everybody. Thanks for the link. Thanks for indulging me. I look forward to the PowerPoint presentation because I missed the first 10 minutes because I was having technical difficulties. Like I was telling you guys, I ended up Zooming on my phone, which was the first for me, but that was cool. So thanks everybody. Good night.
Good night. Have a good evening, y'all, everybody.
Thank you.
And don't forget to fill out the survey, please. I really,
Oh, let me go back and do that.
yeah,
okay.
just click that, go to it's called Survey Monkey. And they do a nice survey, and that'll get back to us to let us know if there's anything else you want to see as well.
Okay, I'll do that now.